She's a leadership coach. She's a diversity and inclusion speaker. She's also the dean of Trident Technical College's Palmer campus, and she knows all about higher education. In this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups, I speak exclusively with Dr. Lou Robertson, one-on-one. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores. And listen to this interview later on iHeartRadio.
Dr. Lou Robertson.
Hello.
It is so good to see you as always.
Likewise.
Yes, ma'am. I've known you, 2008, so it's been 11 years now.
Yes.
And obviously you are the dean here at the Trident Technical College's Palmer campus.
Yes.
But I went back on your website just last night at drlourobertson.com.
Yes.
And it says this: Louester A.S. Robertson, educational leadership researcher, professor, curriculum developer, leadership coach, diversity and inclusion speaker.
Yes.
If you were to teach a course right now on your life,
yes,
what would be the title of that particular course?
It would probably be something like lessons. The lessons of life that you need to know that I can share from my life. I think that would be it. Yes.
What have been the lessons of your life when you look back over the past couple of 30 years more?
Over the years, and what I'm doing right now that affects over the years is that I'm trying to pen a new book and I'm trying to focus on my life in Charleston.
Yeah.
And my over 60 years of life in Charleston. I'm just telling you over 60, right? And I think it's important for me to do that because of the way Charleston has changed since I grew up in Charleston. I wanted to focus on why I'm still here. Why did I not leave Charleston when lots of my friends in the 70s, were leaving Charleston, going to HBCUs, going to colleges all over the nation? I stayed in Charleston. I went to the hometown college in Charleston. Go Cougars!
Yes,
Can I say that?
Oh, yes.
And from there, just trying to make sure that the lessons I learned from my mentors growing up, from my teachers growing up, to share it with the children, with the community, with colleagues, because I learned some very strong lessons growing up, and I found that it needed to be shared. So that's what I've been doing, and that brings me joy.
And you talk about the College of Charleston.
Yes.
Obviously, they actually profiled you for milestones in diversity.
Yes.
And they said this: Louester Lou Smalls Robertson, class is 1977. To put it mildly, CFC alumni Dr. Louester Lou Ann Smalls Robertson, class of 77, knows quite a bit about higher education.
Right.
She received her doctorate of education from Nova Southeastern University in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Yes.
And holds a certificate in management and leadership from Harvard Graduate School of Education.
Yes, I do.
And naturally, you are the dean of Trident Tech's Palmer campus here in downtown Charleston. And you said your mission is to, quote, act in our time to prepare our students for a better future.
Yes.
Talk to me about that time right now.
The time right now is so important for everyone to act, to make sure that the future is sound for our children, younger children, millennials, teenagers, you name it. If we're not making it a sound future for them by mentoring, teaching, exposing them to things that they never even dreamed of, who's going to do it? I used to do a workshop years ago when I trained teachers, and one of the themes for it was, you are the leader you've been looking for. We used to look for leaders in the community, people who are going to help do something, and I finally realized, well, that's you. You're the leader you've been looking for to help make some of these dreams come to fruition for children and others.
And it goes on to say this: Dr. Robinson's work in education hasn't gone unnoticed. She received the Martin Luther King Jr. Humanity Award from Trident Technical College in 2014, and was the National Trust for Historic Preservation's Diversity Scholar in 2010. In 2008, she received the Eddie Ganaway Distinguished Alumni Award, which recognizes an alumnus or alumna who has distinguished themselves in their field, promotes the college to become a better and more inclusive community, and is a loyal supporter of the college. Dr. Robinson has served on the college's Alumni Association Board of Directors, volunteered with the Low Country Alumni Chapter, and participated as a Student Alumni Association mentor. What else do you remember when it comes to the College of Charleston?
Well, first of all, I must give a shout out to the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. The Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority at the College of Charleston was initiated in 1975, and I was on that charter line. That was the first line of African American sorority members. We were there with some other chapters, but that was a significant move in my life. That was a significant thing that we did at the College of Charleston. And what was so significant about pledging in that sorority is that at the time, the then Baptist College of Charleston, which is now Charleston Southern University, also pledged 12 ladies at the same time. So we made all this national news about pledging African American women, of women leaders in these colleges, and it went from there. And right now today, I'm so friends with all those people. I have all the bridesmaid dresses, the grandchildren pictures, things like that. And this week we're a little sad because one of our colleagues, one of our students from the College of Charleston passed away this week. And we have lost one member of our chapter from the AKAs. So now we lost a very significant Kappa Alpha Psi guy this week. So it's a little dampered today for me, but that brought us together.
That's so good to hear. And all of these awards and accolades and honors, do you consider yourself a leader?
I do. I have to consider myself a leader because that's the only way people are going to follow you. If you want somebody to follow you, they must have a reason, right? And that reason must be that they see in you the leader that they want to be, or the leader that can help them. And I help a lot of people to become leaders. I do.
That's true.
I do.
And how do you view the Palmer campus and its future in your mind?
I love my ranch. This is the ranch. I'm the sheriff. And Palmer campus has made significant changes over the years. I've been at Trident Technical College for 25 years, and I've been at Palmer for 10.
Right.
When I came down to Palmer, I felt like it was time to go back home. And by going back home, I mean back downtown. I was raised in the downtown area, so coming here was a significant thing in my life. I didn't know, though, that my friends' grandchildren and children would come up to me and say, "Well, hey, I know your mom. I know you." I said, "Do I know your mom?"
Right.
And the first thing I'd ask them is, "What's your last name?" And once they tell me that last name, I can roll off the history of, "Oh, I know your mom. I know your grandmother." Right. Things like that. But also, in addition to knowing their names, what made it so profound is that if I got any students from the Low Country, Burke High School, coming to Palmer campus, I talked for a while, talking about high school, where did you go and where did you go? Right. And when I say, "Oh, I'm a loyal bulldog from Burke High School," they just go, "What?" I go, "Oh yeah, I'm a bulldog." kind of bulldog for life.
Right.
And also, I was a cheerleader at Burke.
Right.
I pride myself in being a cheerleader. And sometimes at home when I'm watching games,
Yes.
my husband just kind of leaves the room because it's like the cheerleaders in action. Don't go in there when Clemson's playing or something, because she's acting like a cheerleader. But not only a cheerleader for life, but a cheerleader for students. I do that. I like to be a cheerleader for students. I like to make students feel that they're important, that you have something inside. And one of the things that I created was a master leadership model. And that model projects that anyone can be a leader with a little help. So I consider myself the leader who can give you a little help to bring whatever is inside of you out. So I think I do that pretty well.
And
I bring it out. Yeah.
And as a disclaimer, you helped Mike Roberts Quintin washing out when he became a student here. So.
Yes.
Yeah. So you have done a great job with that. And in this time, in this world, what's your advice for a typical student right now who is at their breaking point that needs a little help?
One of the things that I tell students, because I still teach.
That's true.
In higher ed, I found that no matter how high you go, stay engaged with the students. Get the pulse of them. And the way you can do that is always be a teacher. Always be a teacher. So when I look at situations of life today, I can clearly say that if you know that you're always going to be a teacher, you always have something to say to students that can help them along the way. And that's what I try to do. I try to see what's going on in their life, in society. My question is always, well, where do you live? What do you do in your community that promotes leadership? What do you do on your job? If you're coming to my class late all the time, do you think you're going to keep that job going in there late all the time? No, you're not. So just best practices of life, you have to be able to convey that to students. Mm-hmm.
What is the state of higher education right now?
Well, right now it's somewhat problematic. Enrollment across the nation is very problematic. We've seen it in the community college roles. We've seen it. We're living through it right now with a dip in enrollment. So for us, recruiting is an ongoing thing to get people to realize that college is still important. We're trying to make sure on many facets that is happening. So we are addressing pockets of people who don't traditionally come to college to make sure that they do. Right now I'm working with the Charleston County School District and Clemson University with an upcoming leadership summit for young men of color and African American males. That's going to incorporate at least 500 males out of the Charleston County School District. And we work a lot with populations of people. For instance, at Palmer campus, we have a GED program here. We found that we needed to make sure we're addressing that population of students. Our award-winning Clemente program, which goes out in the community to bring students here. So Palmer campus does the non-traditional to make sure that we're getting students into us. We're starting early. We start early. Right. We work with middle schools. Right. We just do. We get out there.
Mm-hmm. What else would make me come? Well, for me, come back to Trident Tech, but for the average person, come to Trident Tech.
The average person would come to Trident Technical College because, first of all, it's very cost effective to come here. It's very cost effective, and we find that right now, with students coming to, for instance, Palmer campus, we have a huge population of students who are wanting to transfer to a four-year college or university. And if that happens, they come to us for 2 years. They're set with all of the basic classes that they need, and it's very comforting to many pocketbooks. We have lottery funding,
Sure.
which is great. We have new scholarships that are available. The new Palmetto Scholarship that's available for our Berkeley County students. And right now we're trying to work on formulating how we're going to get in many students with life scholarships to Palmer campus. We're working on a proposal right now to address students in an honors program. So that's in the works for us, and I think when that comes to fruition, it's going to be very wonderful for us downtown.
Sure.
Yeah.
And when you look at downtown, what is in the future in your mind?
Well, it's so funny that you asked me this question because, I grew up downtown. I can remember and tell you what was on every corner in downtown Charleston because I grew up in downtown Charleston. And right now, it's so funny. I'll tell you about my children first of all. I have 2 New Yorkers.
Right.
They live in New York City. When they come home, it's like, Mom, what happened? Buildings all over the place. Right. But they remember because they just did a podcast in New York. Someone interviewed them about growing up in the South. And one of the things that they recall is that no matter what, our mom is going to tell us the history of downtown Charleston. That used to be there, this used to be that, so they know it. So it came to a point where they would go, we know, Mom. We know. But I would say that the history of Charleston cannot be forgotten. I've made that a mission in my life for people to know what was here before you. And it matters what was here before you. You cannot forget it. You cannot bury it. You cannot build a building over it. You have to honor it. So that's what we do a lot at Palmer campus. This campus was the home of C.A. Brown High School. We just had a program here where we brought a graduate of C.A. Brown High School as our East Side Day speaker. We have East Side Day.
Hey.
Our East Side Day speaker was a brigadier general who graduated from C.A. Brown High School. Well, I can't tell you how profound that was. And what was even more significant is that now we have an early college high school here. Well, the early college high school is very diverse. But the early college high school, I can tell you this, they know the history of C.A. Brown High School. They know that school was built in the 60s to stave off integration. But look at them. Another high school is in this same place. It's very diverse, and it's wonderful. And they have taken a lot of what was at C.A. Brown. They're now honoring that. Their colors are black and gold. They're not Panthers, they're Tigers. But the day I walked the general down the hall, he just had to see this because what is down the hall in the early college are pictures from the original C.A. Brown yearbooks. The band,
right.
The cheerleaders, football team.
Yeah.
And it was hilarious when the general walked by one picture and he pointed to it and he said, that was my old girlfriend. We just fell out. It was hilarious.
Right.
But he recognizes that the heritage and history of that school is not forgotten. We have a monument that was built in 2012 when C.A. Brown celebrated their 50th anniversary. We brought that back to old school, from the parade in the city,
Right.
From bringing the students on campus, and they still work with us. The Alumni Association is very strong in Charleston. People, need to know that they still exist, and they make no bones about letting you know. So, yeah.
That is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And if I were to talk to you for Quintin Close-Ups a year from now, what would you tell me about Dr. Lou Robertson?
That is an interesting question. I think I would still be working to make sure people are educated, to make sure people know education is important, to make sure they know that you can't get through life without it. You just cannot get through life without it. Every opportunity that you have to learn, that's a great opportunity. So own it
Yes.
and do it. Yes.
That's amazing. Well, Dr. Lou Robertson, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate this.
You're welcome.
Yes.
It's good to see you.
Likewise.
One of our grads.
That's right.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you greatly.
Yeah.